Hi, my name is Samuel Smith, candidate number 99924, and this is my professional performance project presentation. So for this module, I was a part of a fundraising and finance team alongside Emma Yule. It was our job to arrange and sort any fundraising we needed for the project to raise any money. And it also was to keep any logs of all the funds which were coming in and out throughout the process for our budget. So as we move down to the project brief, so obviously we're given a project brief from Being Frank. It's David McKenna. I took a quote here from the brief, which helped me summarise for ourselves. So the set should symbolically represent a bedroom. It must be versatile enough to be able to be moved by 3 or 4 performers so that it can change from the bedroom into other locations. The bed should be very stable, enabling the cast to jump on and off of it. It should have the capacity to be able to be projected on. Some white material will need to dress it, and this material should also be versatile so that performers can manipulate it in other ways to create new images. It would also be nice to play with white steps and white boxes which can be picked up and moved about the stage. These can also be projected onto. So, from this quote that I took from McKenna, he gave us quite a insight into how it was going to look from the beginning. So, from a set view for the other parts of the company, they had an idea of what they were going to need and what we weren't going to need, which also then enabled us to have an idea for some finances from the beginning. So it talks about the white boxes. We already have white boxes at the college, and once we liaised that with McKenna, it was understandable that we wouldn't need to purchase any because we could use these. The white cloth was clearly was going to be something that we needed to purchase, and he also supplied the bed frames, so that was something else we didn't need to worry about. So from the beginning, we already had a sense of what we needed to pay for and what we needed to get. So we sent off the other teams to find out their specific parts they needed to bring towards the table for me and Emma to then try and create a roles and duties. Creating and looking after a budget. And I have a quote here which is from Ali 2020, and it's set your budget well in advance, understanding the overall parameters you have to work within. So like I said instantly, we were looking into a budget we wanted to start with, so gathering the information of what we knew what we needed throughout the process by sending the other teams off to find out what they thought we needed, especially like the props and the set as the main key vocal points to go forward for the performers, so they had stuff to rehearse with throughout. This was a very essential part for us, so that's what we'll mainly focusing on. Creating and finding source of income. So obviously for our job role, we have to create sources of income, mainly through fundraising. So we looked into some fundraising ideas, and we tried to come up with some ideas which we could then use with the group to then create some funds. We also looked into a starting fund, so what we were going to have at the beginning. The college always supplies something for the BA degree, so that's something that we looked into. Keeping track of all income and expenditures. So after you have set up your budget, it's imperative that you monitor and record your expenses in each category. This is by Von Winkle 2020. So what he's saying here is that every income you get and every expenditure, you need to keep an eye on this, especially after you set the budget up, so you can then as a whole keep a track of everything that's going on. Because if you don't, and you start spending more than what you're bringing in, then you're going to be in debt and you won't be able to afford these things. So the idea of this is to prioritize what you need. From this, we then decided to do a 70-30% split. If you look on the view P and L sheet, which will be on the side sheets with you, this kind of gives an idea of how we split the 70-30, which I'll expand more on later. My job role also insists that I need to have good communication with the partner and obviously the company when expressing all these different details. I've got another quote here of diversification of financial control. No one should have too much control when it comes to authorising financial transactions. There needs to be multiple people involved to ensure things are free from error or fraud. So obviously, because me and Emma are in a smaller group, just between the two of us, it didn't mean we had X amount of people, say 3, 4, 5 people to look through all of our bits of income. So we decided from this to everything that we worked on together, so we could look over it and make sure there was no errors, and we could both keep track of the money, and what was coming in, what was going out throughout. So we both had a clear understanding of everything that was going on. Fundraising ideas that we went forward with. So beforehand, we'd spoken to the group and discussed many different fundraising ideas, which we thought would work, which we wouldn't work, and overall as a group, we decided that these were probably the most beneficial for us, and this is the way we went about it. So the list goes as follows. The bag packing at Morrison's, which is £137.38. Morrison's is a reoccurring fundraising that we usually do, and many other like charities and like the Scouts and people like normally get involved with Morrison's to bag packs. It's normally a good day for fundraising. It's also a really good way to promote the show. So obviously you're in contact with many different customers, and we normally take posters with ourselves and little cards which we can give and slip into their shopping bags to then express and push the show out, to then hopefully, because it's going to be in the local community, push that and make them want to come and watch the show, basically. The t-shirts, so the t-shirts we made a £25 profit on. So basically we bought a load of t-shirts from a gentleman with our design on, which was also another promotion purpose for us when we're wearing the t-shirts. But the t-shirts, we rounded the money up to a certain amount, and then all the profits, which covered over extra, made £25 to then go towards our budget. We also had a donation from someone called Karen. Karen's son and husband, they both decided to do a fundraising idea of growing their beard and not shaving for each day, and each day they would be donated a certain amount of money, and over the days they accumulated £12 between them. We also set up a GoFundMe page. So GoFundMe is a page where anyone can donate to a cause or to a fund, and we made this page in the idea of hopefully people wanting to donate to us, especially people in the cast, their families, and other people who wanted to help us out in the community. It didn't really set off as planned, which I believe was probably due to the pandemic, because I think everyone decided that the show probably wasn't going to go forward. So that kind of got shifted to one side and kind of forgot about. We were also given an initial budget. So the initial budget, which you can see on the handout of the cash flow actual. So we have initial fund of £200, it says on there. Obviously it says 224, but with that initial fund, I added the Curiosity one in there as well. So Curiosity was a previous show, a previous degree show, which we then decided to take that money over and bring into this project, along with the initial fund, which is given from the campus for the actual project itself. And that basically started us off with a nice subtotal of money when adding all these together, which was £399.75. So from the beginning, of course, getting money in is a massive thing, but also we usually have expenditures. So looking into prioritising certain expenditures, we decided that we wanted to focus mainly on the props, the costumes, and also the set. So the things that were brought back to us was plastic cups for the props. This was just for certain scenes, so practicing with these plastic cups then gave the performers a stepping stone to practice with these, instead of getting them later on towards the show, where they're going to be then stressing about other things as well as trying to perform with these plastic cups. So getting as much rehearsal time in with these was the most important thing for us. Getting the costumes, so we got these 6 dresses and the 3 polos. I believe that some of the dresses were also taken back, which also gets shown in the later overall expenditures. We also had some plywood, which came from Melton's Merchants. So they did a free delivery for us because it was a local area, and the plywood came to £30.96. Having this all together made a total expenditures of £114.43, which, if you look at the bottom part of the cash flow actual diagram, that is everything that's in there. And to the right hand side it shows you. So we have the total cash raised from the raised money, and then we have the total cash spent in the green, and then the balance after them two being taken away, which was £285.30. Proposed extra funding and expenditures. So due to the pandemic, we decided to also carry on with the extra fund and expenditure ideas. I mean, it was at this point now where we weren't too sure if the show was going to go on, but obviously for evidence and to look into some extra ideas, just in case any extra expenditures were going to come along, we thought it's best to look into these. So we arranged another second day at Morrison's for backpacking, which we estimated £100 as a estimation. Due to, from previous times we've been there, obviously it's up and down, but normally you don't normally get any less than 100 and say £140. But as an estimation, we thought, because of the time of what it was, we thought we'll go over £100 as it's a realistic estimation of what we could have received. Sweet sales. So sweet sales are normally done either before the show or in the interval. And from previous shows we've done this, we've made a substantial amount of money. So from this, we took an estimation of £50 to add to the budget. We also looked into educational funds. So the idea of this was from a previous show I was in. I took control of creating a package deal for schools. And from that, I took, say, 2 schools, which happened last time for us. And we took a number of 25 students for each school. So with this workshop ticket package, what they get is the tickets for the show to come watch, and then they also get the a workshop alongside with the cast, and all in this, it's £2.50 per head for each student. Obviously, for schools to be travelling to these shows is normally their biggest expenditure for the buses. So trying to keep the cost down is minimal for them. We decided at £2.50 with a high volume of students would bring in a substantial amount of money for our process. So altogether that was £125, so £2.50 for 25 students, which would make £62.50, obviously doubled over the time of, in the sense of having 2 schools would be 50 students, which made £125. So the total of the extra funding altogether was going to come to £275. So then we had extra expenditures we had planned to make. We had a competition prize, which was set up by marketing. So someone who could share the most, get the most shares on a post and get people to come watch the show, they would win a £10, say, Amazon voucher. We also had posters. So posters for the show to be put around as an advertising process. We decided to do this later on though, as like I said earlier, we wanted to prioritise the set and the props and everything that we needed for the show before we decided what we were going to do before the posters for the advertisement. However, this was still going to be done well in advance. We also looked at sticky back tape and fabric. These were both for the set. However, we came across these quite later on into the process, deciding how we were going to put the fabric onto the set and how the sticky back tape was going to work with it. So that's what we came up with, that idea. We also looked at programs for the show. So as a company, we decided we wanted professional programs. These cost a substantial amount of money. However, because it's our end of year show and the money we were making at the time, we did think that we could cover this. So it was £81.50 altogether, and that was the quote we got. We also had the additional costumes, which were from the ones that were previously sent back, and we then went and rebought some. So the total cost for this was £174 of the proposed extra expenditures.